Right now, I am choked up. I am a 190-pound goosebump as I stand before you.
You sure can.
And if you're like me, there is nothing more that you would like to see than more programs like Amazing Grace. You're not going to see this kind of program on commercial television. You're only going to see it on public television. And we all know that success breeds success. And if programs like Amazing Grace are wildly supported by you, the listening audience, then we're going to have more programs. There may be an Amazing Grace Part 2. There might be more programs that focus on our wonderful and rich American religious heritage and on all that has happened as a result of the grace that God has shed upon this country. So, let me say to you, one of the things we know theologically is that those who've received grace are people who give. And if you've received the grace of this program tonight, and if you appreciate it and you have felt that grace in your life, we pray that you would now call and that you would make this a very important priority for you, that you would call and support KYVE. Well, there's a wonderful little story that was told earlier by John Bradshaw, in which he was talking about a woman who was profoundly depressed. And a psychologist named Milton Friedman went to see her and said, started talking to the lady and tried to help her get out of her depression. And what he told this woman who was profoundly depressed was, listen, do you go to church? She said, yes. He said, whenever there's a baby born in that church, you give that person, you send them an African violet. And whenever there's anybody who is married in that church, you send them an African violet. Whenever there's a funeral, you send an African violet. Whenever anything happens to anybody, that you send an African violet. And then the psychologist turned and walked out. He's supposed to come out with some great psychological theory or something. Walked out. And he said about a year or so later, he read a little article in the newspaper about the African violet lady who was sending African violets. And this woman came out of her depression as a result of giving. And so tonight, if you have some holiday blues, what better way to solve those holiday blues than to go to that telephone and call us right here at KYVE. Over to you, Dean.
The black man, I was really touched. His one quote says that if you're too poor, you can't be happy, and if you're too rich, you can't be happy. And how much truth there is in that saying. You know, I guess that relates here to us at KYVE in many ways. The worst thing that could happen to this station if we were fully endowed by some rich benefactor, because then it means that we wouldn't be lean and we wouldn't be hungry. And I have to tell you, we're lean and hungry, and we're working hard. And it's calls like we had a $1,500 break just a little while ago, the last break, and boy, we thank you. Total now 2722. We're doing well. We really need to make up some lost ground the past night. Please call 457-3100. We've had a lot of calls. I want to read some of these names. We had many anonymous people pledging $120 tonight and taking the premium, as well as having the trees planted. Donna Oliva, Yakima, thank you. Jean Cutlip from Ellensburg. Rose Marquis from Sunnyside. Don Schussler, a friend of many of us here from Yakima. Roger Phillips, of course, from Union Gospel Mission, and a wonderful minister himself.
Talk about Amazing Grace.
Talk about Amazing Grace. If you know his story, you know that story. Bev Hinion from Yakima. We have David Halseth from Yakima. Bill and Sandy Peterson from Ellensburg. Just a raft of wonderful people. Mr. and Mrs. John Maxson from Ellensburg. Catherine Hitt from Grandview. Jerry Schussler from Yakima. Joan and Jean Hogarth. Joe Marker from Yakima. And all these have trees. Paul and Jean Strader from Yakima. Our cup runneth over. We're really blessed. Please give us a call. KYV needs it. We're going to keep these kind of programs coming for a long time to come. Isn't that right, Diane?
That certainly is right. And if you call tonight at the $120 level of pledging, you too can have Amazing Grace right there in your home for your TV set and VCR.
And the quality is so much better than when you record it yourself.
That's true. That's very true. Right. And it doesn't have any pledge breaks in it
no
either.
Pledge breaks. And no pledge breaks.
Of course, if you really want us to give you something with pledge break, no. So anyway, we need you to call this evening and let us know that this is the program that you're happy to see on your TV, that you want more programs like this. We have almost a full phone bank. We have one phone that's empty right now, and that poor gentleman is feeling very lonely. certainly. This is the Heritage Broker people that are down here volunteering their time this evening, and we truly appreciate their help because it's not only the dollars that help keep KYVE going, but our volunteers too. And they're a very fine example of that because they've come down almost every time we ask them. They're right here.
And they still have land for sale for llamas. You harking back to the llamas, they still have land. Give them a call. They know just where to put you.
Were we going to look at a little spot about trees and planting?
We wanted to, again, show you another partner we're with, and besides Heritage Brokerage, we're with Boise Cascade. So would you like to show us a little clip of what we're doing with the tree up in the Jim Sprick Park and the Nile Betterment Association in the Nile Valley? It'll show you exactly what we're doing right now.
This Christmas season, you can help guarantee green for years to come. For every pledge of $60 or more, Boise Cascade Corporation will donate a seedling to be planted at the Nile Valley Community Park. For generations to come, all will enjoy these trees. Children will be able to take their children and grandchildren to see their trees grow. Let's all get together, you, KYVE, and Boise Cascade, working to keep quality television and green in your future.
You know, I'm really upset. He's made fun of my tie here lately, and then Diane said she wouldn't give me even $10 for it, and I know my wife paid more than that. And you're asking how much again, Vic? What are you?
$200 for that tie.
$200 for this tie, and it's yours, worn only twice, right?
Only twice?
And only egg yolk on it once.
We got to get rid of that tie. Listen, we are beautifying the city of Yakima and the environs by planting trees. But how foolish to plant trees to make this city beautiful and to leave ties like Dean Starr's tie still walking around the streets. So please take that tie off the street. Give it a good home, but keep it inside. Wear it in the privacy of your own home. And so we want to get this tie. $200 is all. Someone has already paid $250 to take this piece of abstract post-impressionistic wearable art off of my body. Now someone needs to take that tie off of Dean Starr.
That's the truth. You know, we've this whole evening we've been talking about trust and how we're working together. And we really are. KYVE is in a trust relationship in the Kittitas Valley, certainly in all of Yakima Valley, all the way to Wenatchee. And we need that support from all of you people. You've been so good to call in. We haven't heard from the Baptists, though. Haven't heard from the Catholics. Haven't heard from a whole bunch of folks that have identified themselves. A couple of your parishioners called in, right?
We've had several of the Presbyterians. Now, listen, we need to have some of the other persuasions to call in tonight and carry your end of the stick. I know Mr. Bueller happens to be of the Presbyterian persuasion, and as they say, you can always tell a Presbyterian, but you can't tell them much. So, some of you others, be sure to call. Of course, David Helseth is a pastor, and so he is carrying the weight of his congregation. But others of you, I know there are many of you from the various churches are watching tonight. You're taping. This particular tape program is no doubt going to be shown in many different settings in different churches and to various groups. Now let me say, some of you are going to be hearing me not on the night of December 4th, but you're going to hear me later. Now don't zap me just because I'm on that videotape that you're watching, but be aware that this is from KYVE. And so no matter when it might be, if this isn't December 4th for you watching this, call up KYVE and make that contribution. And again, make programs of such quality as Amazing Grace, make that become the mainstream of what we see on television. You vote with your dollars, and money speaks very, very loudly. And you know that what you contribute is going to set the trend for what's going to be shown in the future. That's true on commercial television. The reason we have an avalanche of very, very, I would use the word garbage in many cases on commercial television is because that is what attracts the dollars. And we're giving you the chance tonight to cast your vote for quality and for some of the finest programming that you will ever see on television anywhere. Amazing Grace here on KYVE.
And we would point out to you that we raise $800,000 a year in the valleys that we serve. That's 2/3 of what United Way raises in those valleys. So it's not that we're not supported, but television is a very expensive business. You people support us very well. And for those that think the government supports us, we only receive a $300,000 grant a year on Corporation for Public Broadcast. So keep calling. We're doing very well now. 457-3100. The tree planting, Amazing Grace, certainly our host, Vic Pence. You're all part of a very successful movement that we have going in public television in our area. Thank you for calling. We're going back to the show now, and we want you to be sure to call 457-3100, or if you're out of the area, 1-800-345-KYVE. We need your pledge right now, and Diana and I will be waiting for you for the last and next break coming on this evening. See you then.
Thank you.